All right, 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 all right. We are back again. We are back again. And this is an emergency live stream. This is an emergency live stream. Bitcoin. Bitcoin has lost $70,000. Bitcoin has lost $70,000, and I'm here to give you guys an emergency live stream. I don't normally live stream this early, right? I don't normally live stream this early, but oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, a what a market, yo, chat, $69,000. $69,000. Oh, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is a live stream. I don't normally live stream this early, but yeah, I gotta give you an emergency one. I gotta give you an emergency stream. So, if you are here for the first time, if this is your first time on this channel, I want to welcome you. All right, I want to welcome you to a place where you are going to get a lot of value, a place where you are going to get nothing but honesty, a place where you are going to get nothing but 100%. All right, 100% of the interpretation of what is in the chart. Now, how we feel about the market. Now, only talking about the market when it's bullish. Now, when you see a bearish market, ignoring it and only talk about the positive side of things. Welcome to the channel, guys. Welcome to the Realist Crypto Analysis channel. I believe, look, there's only a few of us, all right? There is only a few of us that are pushing what the market actually looks like. All right, there's only a few of us. Most of the crypto analysis, look, most of these guys, they continue to tell you to buy the dip. Most of these guys, they continue to predict this could be a bottom, that could be a bottom. No, 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 no. All right, there is not a bottom anywhere around here. All right, there is not a bottom anywhere in sight, guys. I'm telling you right now. And I have been warning you guys since $98,000. Get out of this market. Get out of this market. And I told you guys, get out of all coins because it's about to get worse. Yo, chat, none of my titles, all right, none of my titles are clickbaiting. None of my titles are clickbaiting. I know you guys are used to a bunch of these clickbaits, on YouTube. Most people always are clickbaiting. Chat, none of my titles are clickbaiting. All right, none of my titles are clickbaiting. When you look at every single one of my titles, like I stand by them. Right? I stand by every one of my title, right or wrong, man. So over the last couple of weeks, like literally over the last couple of weeks, I have been telling you guys it's about to get worse. Right? I have been telling you guys that it's about to get worse. And funny enough, exactly 4 weeks ago, all right, January 7, guys, I put this out when the price of Bitcoin was at $94,000. What I say to you guys was that, yes, BTC is bullish in the short term, and my target is $96,000. But based on my analysis, there's going to be a bigger crash after. And I was absolutely right. I was 100% right. 4 weeks later, you look at the price of Bitcoin, it's at $69,000. How many times, all right, how many times have you watched these bigger accounts, all right, people with thousands, or should I say tens of thousands, or should I say hundreds of thousands of followers, right? How many times have they predicted that this was a bullish setup right here? How many times have they predicted that $74,000 was going to be the low of the pullback? How many times have they told you, right? How many times have they been telling you that this was a healthy pullback, that we were not in a bull market? How many times, guys? There's only a few of us who are looking at this market and are actually being very honest. There is only a few of us, guys. There is only a few of us, and it's only a handful. Only a few of us are looking at Bitcoin, are looking at the cryptocurrency market as a whole, and we are calling it exactly as it is. It is a brutal bear market. 2026, it's 2022 all over again. All right, percentage wise, all right, the drawdowns percentage wise in terms of Bitcoin, maybe not the same. All right, maybe we get, I don't know, a 50% drop from top to bottom instead of, I think last time we had like a 76, 75% drop, top to bottom. Maybe percentage wise, we go down, not as much as we did last bear market. But, truth is, we in a bear market, baby. All right, truth is, we are in a bear market. And in a bear market, it gets worse, man. So none of my titles, none of my streams, I'm telling you guys, man. All right, I'm not over exaggerating anything when I say the market looks really bad. Right? When I say the market looks really, really bad, look, I could be wrong with my analysis. That is perfectly fine. This is the business that I'm in. Right? I am here to analyze the market. It's basically just my interpretation of the chart. When I look at the charts and I say, hey, I think this is this, and that is what might play out, right? I could be wrong. But at least, I'm looking at it from a non-biased perspective. At least I don't have a bias. When I open the chart, at least my bias is not, hey, the market should only go up. At least I'm not looking at it from that, from those lens. Because when you listen to a lot of these influencers, right, they only tell you to buy the dip. They tell you, hey, the market looks fine. When BTC lost $107,000, they told you the market was fine. When BTC lost $98,000, they tell you the market was fine. Once you lose $107,000, you lose $98,000. Like, these are major weekly key levels. Especially once you lose $98,000, you're no longer in a bull market. The truth is, you're no longer in a bull market. And what I want you guys to do is, I want you to go back and watch this video right here, guys. This is a big, look, I told you guys, this pump is a big trap. And you don't want to be trapped in this move right here. Right? And I told you, my indication, my analysis, my indicators, they're pointing to a bigger drop after. And I was absolutely right. But anyways, what I did in this video right here that I absolutely want every single one of you guys to watch is that not only did I predict that there was going to be a bigger crash after, I actually showed you why. I'm not just rambling. I'm not just predicting that there's going to be a bigger crash. No, I am showing you why there could potentially be a bigger crash. So throughout this update right here, guys, what I did was I showed you guys that what was playing out, all right, this Bitcoin consolidation was nothing like any of our previous consolidations. All right, the characteristic of it was nothing like any one of our previous consolidations. And I gave you guys multiple examples. In a bull market, yes, there's going to be, there's going to be pullbacks, there's going to be consolidations, but they all look, at least the ones from this bull market, they all look very similar. Right? You get lower highs and lower lows. All right, you get like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. You get like a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. And then you get a breakout to the upside, and then you might get a retest, and then price continues higher. All right, I showed you guys, throughout the entire bull market, every single one of our consolidation was actually bullish. None of our consolidation looks anything like the one we got right here, guys. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you watch this video right here, guys. It's about 16 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You can kind of skip through it or just, speed it up. Maybe go to the 1.5. But anyways, oh my God, oh my gosh. I hope none of you guys is out there buying the dip of this market. I hope none of you is out there buying the dip of this market. There's going to be a time to be a buyer, but it's just not right now. There is going to be a time to be a buyer, but it is not right now. And I'm telling you, all coins, chat, convert it to Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin is going lower, but convert it to Bitcoin. You think they're already down 80%? There's going to be another 80% drop. There is going to be another 80% drop in the price of all coins. Get away from these all coins. And the scary part is you actually have no idea, which one is going to make it out. Like, you don't know which one is actually going to survive the bear market. And even if they do survive, you don't know how long this is going to take. Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? We're talking about an altcoin market that has been in the bear market since early 2024. Yes, guys, early 2024. This is how long altcoins have been in the bear market. Now, you may be thinking, well, how could we be in a bear market since early 2024, but some some old coins went up 400%, 500%. Guys, just look at the charts, right? Many of these old coins, not only did they only go back and retest their previous all-time highs, most of them, all right, failed to retest their previous all-time highs. Most of them, they ended up putting in a weekly lower high. Yes, they did go up, but structurally, you don't see higher highs and higher lows. You see lower highs on the weekly. You see a monthly time frame that has never recovered. All right, look the likes of Polkadot. Polkadot did like a 300% move, I believe. But look at the chart, man. It's a lower high on the weekly. It looks it looks ridiculous on the monthly. It looks ridiculous on the monthly. So the question is, how low can BTC go? BTC is going lower. Look, how low can you go, guys? I have no idea. The only thing that I can do, I can just kind of, play with, different levels. So I'm looking at this $50,000 range. To me, this is an area of interest. And if we think, this could be a 60% top to bottom pullback, then if you go from the top, all right, if you go from the top right here, I just don't want to give a prediction because, I don't want anybody to come back and say, hey, you predicted 50,000. We ended up, going to 40. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But if we think BTC might go down about 60%, you're basically looking at a $50,000 Bitcoin. If we think Bitcoin goes down about 65% in this bear market, you're basically looking at a $43,000 Bitcoin. So my guess would be somewhere around here we put in the bottom. All right. Now, some people are looking at the 200 weekly moving average, and they think this is where BTC is more likely to bottom, which is $68,000. Yo, chat, I don't think so. I think we're gonna slash through the 200 weekly moving average. I do not see the 200 as the bottom of this bear market. Yo, could we get a day cap bounce on the 21 weekly? Of course, guys. I don't even think we get a day cap bounce on the 21 weekly, and the reason is because, we just had a day cap bounce, literally, guys, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, we had a weekly day cap bounce. BTC goes from $80,000 to $96,000. Why are people asking for a day cap bounce when we literally just got one 3 weeks ago? This is how bad this market is. This is how bad this cryptocurrency market is at the moment. People are screaming. They are begging for a day cap bounce. But we just had one. 3 weeks ago, BTC goes from $80,000 to $97,000. Please, guys, allow the market. All right, allow the market to do something. And what I've said to you, these last weeks was that this was an acceleration to the downside. Chat, tell me I didn't say this. I told you guys, this is an acceleration to the downside. And if you think this is bad, just wait a couple more weeks. Chat, we're going to get at least 3 more. I think we're going to get 3 more weekly candles that look exactly like this. So if we think we're going to get at least another 3 more weekly candles, you're basically looking at Bitcoin in the $50,000 range. You are basically looking at Bitcoin in the $50,000 range. Oh my God. Oh my God. Good morning, Crypto KC in the building. Good morning. Good morning. Guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is an emergency stream. I saw Bitcoin at $69,000 and I was like, oh, I gotta go live. I got a live stream. I think I'm definitely live streaming again later today, in the next couple hours, before I get busy. But, I wanted to take some time and, kind of talk about Bitcoin and talk about a few other things. But I'm telling you guys right now, man, and I have been telling you this these last couple of weeks. Yo, it is about to get worse. Chat, I'm telling you, and I'm very honest when I say this. None of my titles are clickbaiting. All right? I am not clickbaiting. I am not clickbaiting at all. When you see every single one of my title and you see me predicting that a 40% crash is coming, a 50% crash is coming, that's because I actually believe in what I'm saying. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm going to be right. But so far, I've done a great job predicting the price of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was at $80,000 and it looked like we were breaking out, I told you guys, hey, we're heading to $96,000. But I also tell you, $96,000 is the place where you should get out of your position. When BTC was around $94,000, $95,000, what I started saying was that, hey, this is the time where you should be taking profits. This is not a time to open a new position because the top is most likely in. And what I say to you was, once we hit $96,000, I told you things were about to get worse. Recently, there's this old coin, XCN. I spent a good 18 minutes talking about this one old coin. This is an old coin that I don't even talk about. But because people were pushing this old coin and they were calling for a 5x, a 10x, told you guys, yo, don't buy XCN. All right. Why would you want to be a buyer in something that looks like this? Why would you want to buy something that looks like this? Honestly, guys, let's be very honest. Why would you want to buy something that looks like this? All right. People are looking for a 5x, a 10x. Are you kidding me? This was nothing but a day cap bounce. And I told you guys, take your profits because there's nothing here. There's nothing here to buy. There is absolutely nothing here. You look at the monthly setup. This coin is going down another 80%. Probably come back and retest the absolute lows of, it's 2022 bear market. If you go from right here, if you go from the top all the way down here, Chad, this is a 90% crash. Can you imagine if someone bought here? Because there were buyers up here. All right? There were buyers. The only way you exit your position, there's got to be someone else coming in. All right? Even from today's price, you're looking at a 75, potentially 85% crash. Why do you see this as a buy opportunity? Or is it because it's almost a complete retrace of this entire pump? So you think this is value? Yeah, if you think this is value, get in. All right, put whatever you think makes sense to you. But I'm telling you right now, the best thing to do right now is stay on the sideline. Don't jump in this market, even if we get a big bounce. A bounce from here, guys. Even if Bitcoin goes up 20% from here, it wouldn't change anything. As far as the structure goes, it wouldn't change anything. It's nothing but a day cap bounce. You need to be patient because the bottom of this weekly crash is going to take time, man. We could potentially take 3 months building the base for the next bull market. So you shouldn't be in a rush at all. And when you look at this monthly right here, Chad, let's be very honest. Once you lose $74,000 on the monthly, what do you have as your next target? You start looking at $48,000. Right? Once you lose 74,000 on the monthly, so if the month of February closes below 74,000, in terms of the areas of interest, you start looking at down here, guys, in the low $50,000 range, and the lowest is $48,000. So BTC is at 69,000, and you think this is the right time to be a buyer? Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. Look, losing $74,000, in my opinion, is the equivalent of losing $28,000 in the last bear market. Because once you lose $28,000, what is your next target? Well, your next target becomes $20,000. Right? Previous resistance becomes your new support. So this is the way I look at this. Simplify. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to use, hundreds of different indicators. You don't have to listen to, 100 different influencers who are, all looking at the market from different lenses and, giving out different predictions. If you want to buy Bitcoin, at least wait until somewhere in the low $50,000 range. Because on the monthly, you can make an argument that it's very hard to see BTC below 48,000. Because once you go below $48,000 and, Bitcoin continues down, your next logic target becomes somewhere around $33,000. So do we really think BTC is going to 33,000? Most likely we say no, right? So at least in the low $50,000 range, I think you have a reason, to start building a position. Now, in my opinion, before you do anything, wait for a daily, some sort of consolidation. Like, wait and see how the daily kind of plays out. Because the only way we get a bottom on the monthly, the process is going to take place on the daily. So if you think about the last bear market, let me show you the last bear market. All right, the last bear market, this is the process, guys. This is the bottom process. And you can clearly see it took some time. All right, you go from June until, the bottom doesn't come in until November 2022. And you don't break the structure until March of 2023. So just think about how long that took. You're going from June of 2022. You don't get the actual bullish breakout until March of 2023. That is 270 days. So don't look at the current price action and think, somehow the bottom comes in right here. If we are going to get a bottom, it's going to be clear to you because you are going to spend, 100, 200 days, trying to do something on the daily. Right? You might get something that looks like this. You're going to get something that looks like this, where you get a big bounce, you get another pullback, maybe a higher low, or you go up again and then come back again, and then we don't take out the previous lows, and then we go up, and then we break above, the previous lower high, and then we get a pullback, all right? Something like this, man. You are going to get something like this on the daily. All right? Once you're in it for a couple weeks, you're going to realize, actually, it looks like the bottom is already in, and this is, starting to look, this is starting to look like the beginning of another bull market. You got to be patient. Chad, do not be a buyer. I'm telling you right now, do not be a buyer. This is not a market to buy right now. The 200 weekly moving average, nobody cares. I know people are looking at the 200 weekly and they are predicting that this is a time where you should start building. Look, if you want to start building a position and your game plan is to dollar cost average below the 200 weekly, I think that is a fantastic strategy because previously, we tend to bottom not too far from the 200 weekly. So if you look at the last bear market, we lost the 200 weekly around 27,000. The bottom comes in around $15,000. So if you would have dollar cost average, your average is probably around $20,000. All right, that is a really, really good average. But just don't go all in at the 200 weekly. I think we're going to smash this and we might come back into the low 50s. All right. Now, if you start dollar cost averaging around $69,000, look, if you go 10% in right here, I think that's a great strategy as long as you wait until price comes if we do come all the way back in the 50s, as long as, majority of your accumulation takes place down here, guys. So you can bring your average price somewhere around here. Now, for me personally, I'd rather just stay on the sideline. I'd rather allow the market to actually build a base before I can do something. Think about the top, guys. I know none of us predicted a top, but think about how long it took us to actually form a top. If you actually think about it, this is the entire process right here, guys. And this took some time, all right? You can say, from July of 2025 until October, BTC was forming a top because here we get a new all-time high. And it's kind of crazy because when you look back, you actually realize, wow, this was actually obvious. We put in a new all-time high, July 25, and then we consolidate sideways, and then we go up again. We break above the all-time high, and then look at this daily close. Like this right here should have been a red flag. Because once you break a new all-time high, once you break a level, you want to see a continuation. What you don't want to see, you don't want to see a rejection, and you don't want to see, closing the candle like this. Like this right here should have been a red flag. And you want to know what else that should have been even a bigger red flag? When the price after this pullback, when we went back up to $126,000 and then actually broke above 125 and still, man, look, still ended up closing below the week right here. This should have been a red flag. And the other red flag, all right, it should have been this one right here. All right, this right here, guys. When the price broke above 126,000 and then we ended up closing all the way back here around $115,000. This would have been the time to say, hey, you know what? We've tried for the last couple of months. It's not working out. Probably the top is already in. So, look, hindsight 2020. But, yeah, it is what it is. So, what I'm saying to any of you who's watching my streams, And if you want to know, hey, why should we believe you? You don't have to believe me, right? But why should we take you serious? Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go back. It's not too many videos out there. All right. I want you to watch every single one. Well, maybe not every single one of these, you know, of these videos right here, but watch, a few of them, and come back today, watch a few of them, see where price was, and then come back, see where price is right now, and then you make your decision. All right. Am I worth listening to? Am I worth taking serious, or do I also have an agenda? All right. And I'm just out here just mumbling, and yeah, you don't want any of that, man. $69,000 Bitcoin. This is not the bottom. It's going way, way lower. And again, as I say this, man, none of my title of these videos, none of these videos is clickbaiting. I'm not here to clickbait. I'm not here to clickbait. What I'm telling you guys is that we have a market that looks really, really bad. All right, TA wise. The fundamentals, that's a completely different story. The fundamentals, if you do, fundamental research, if you are, one of those guys, this is a completely, completely different story. What I'm more interested in is the charts. Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. Show me the charts and I'll tell you what might play out. I'll tell you, I'll try to tell you where price might be a few weeks from now, a few months from now. Anyways, chat. I don't know how many of you guys are on Twitter, now known as X. But if you are, just give me a follow. All right. I am right here. Just give me a follow, guys. I have been warning you these last couple weeks about many of these altcoins. You see on January 8th, right? But of course, it goes way, way back. When Zcash was around $430, I told you guys, hey, get ready for $230. You look at the price of Zcash today. Are we at 230? Probably. Maybe lower. Look at Zcash today, guys. 222. All right, 222. And let me be honest, it's going way, way lower. Zcash is going lower. Chat, we're going to get rid of. Let me show you something. Do you see this entire pump right here? From all the way back to around $60 to, $700. Yo, we're going to retrace the entire move. When you go to the monthly, like we don't have anything in terms of support. When you go to the monthly, we have absolutely nothing in terms of support, man. So be careful out there. All right. Be careful out there. Look at XRP. Look at XRP, man. I gave you guys a prediction. I told you XRP is going to lose all of this local support right here. In $100 not $100, $60, $70, $80. Who cares about that? Always, always zoom out. Look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what's important. Chat, when you have a support on the daily, but when you zoom out, the support, doesn't exist there. Ignore the daily support and only focus on, monthly charts. So if I'm looking at XRP right now, like people are just, chat, you don't have anything. Because all we have is this crazy monthly candle, all right, from 50 cents to basically $2. Yo, we're going to get rid of all of this right here. And you are going to see XRP back in the 60, 50, 70 cents range, sometimes over the next couple of weeks. All right. Yo, give me a follow, man. If you are on X, I am right here, guys. When I'm not live streaming, because, I can't live stream all day, I post my opinion on X. And I mean, yeah, it's bad. All right. Look, recently when BTC was around, I think like 80,000 or maybe just a little higher, people were looking at 74,000 and they really thought that $70,000 was going to hold. This was Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin was at 77,000. And my opinion was that, 74,000 is just not going to do anything. All right. We're going to slash through $74,000 the same way, MSTR slashed through $232 because, look, The reason I never believed that $74,000 was actually going to hold is because we just had a weekly rally. Literally, guys, 2-3 weeks ago, we had a weekly dead cat bounce where the price of Bitcoin goes from 80,000 to $96,000. Why? Like, honestly, this is mind blowing. Why would you think after a massive weekly day cat bounce, all right, that we are all of a sudden going to get another one, 2 weeks after? Are you kidding me? So, in my opinion, I don't think we get anything on the weekly until the price of Bitcoin is somewhere in this big box right here, guys. And I'm talking about not at the top of this range. Like, I'm talking about towards the low end of this range right here. And you could be looking at somewhere in the low $50,000 range. Even in the low 60, I don't think we get anything. I'm talking about a weekly day cat bounce. I'm not talking about a daily. All right? On the daily, price is going to recover. We might even recover $74,000 on the daily. But the weekly is what's important right now to me. And I'm looking at this, and I honestly believe we got at least 3 more of this, 3 weeks of this before we can kind of get something. Yeah. This is my honest opinion. I've done this plenty of times. I continue to compare our current situation to this one right here. Back in 2022, we had a massive weekly rally from $33,000 to $48,000, and we had a major support around $28,000, which was right here, guys. But guess what? Once we finalize this weekly day cat bounce, I want you guys to take a look at this crash right here. All right, $28,000. Like, we slashed through $28,000 like it was nothing, and the price of Bitcoin brought us down to around $17,000. And my opinion is that this is exactly what we are experiencing. And when you think about, how many weeks it took us to finally get another weekly day cat bounce, if you count, you got like 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. This is 10, this is 11 right here, right? 11 weeks later, you finally get some sort of a day cat bounce on the weekly. So if I'm looking at this, I think minimum, you get at least 6 weeks of this right here. And this is why I continue to say, we are in the acceleration to the downside. All right. So I think we get at least 3 more weeks. So this week is definitely going to be nasty, closing below 74,000. But never say never. We might recover, go above $74,000. But I don't think Bitcoin has got enough. I don't think we got enough buyers to push us back and close above 74,000. So I do think, let's just say we close around 72,000. I do think, you got at least 3 more weeks. And if we think about 3 more weeks of something very similar to this, you start looking at the low $50,000 range. All right, you start looking at the low $60,000 range. When will the next bull market, guys? I mean, look, those are the wrong questions to ask right now. All right, those are the wrong questions to ask right now. Is when will the next bull market start? We're not even in the middle of the of the bear market. Price wise, you might say we are very closer to the end than we are to the beginning. But the next bull market, I think we shouldn't even be thinking about that right now. Right now, it's about surviving. Right now, it's all about surviving. And then later on, we can think about the next bull market. Yeah, because this is just, oh my gosh, man. I want to see what's going on Twitter. This is one of my favorite people when it comes to technical analysis. Bob Lucas. Every crypto bear cycle, you get these washouts, centralized entities, one involved in a shady practice. Absolutely. Chat, someone is going to get liquidated. I don't know who. I don't know if it's Michael Saylor, but someone is going to get liquidated. And this is why, let me be very honest with you. This is why I do not encourage any dollar cost average. Think about the last bear market, guys. FTX. All right. Think about FTX. Think about those other guys that got blown out. We are going to get someone liquidated in this bear market. And if we don't, it's fine. But in my opinion, it's way too early to rush into anything right now. Because if we do get some bigger All right, if we get some bigger, oh my gosh, excuse me, hold on. If we get someone bigger to get liquidated, yo, you look at $50,000, we could potentially nuke all the way down in the low $40,000 range. Staying on the sideline is the right thing to do right now. Yo, cash is a big position. You don't have to be in the market. Cash is a position as well, guys. Stay on the sideline. Let the market blow out. And then once the dust is settled, all right, once things are clear and the market finally settle, then you can go shopping. Right now, absolutely not. Yeah, this is like Ethereum. You see Ethereum right here, guys. I was telling you Ethereum was not looking good during this consolidation. During this consolidation right here, I was telling you guys, hey, Ethereum, be careful out there. So, price below the 200 daily moving average. First and foremost, I don't touch anything that's below the 200 moving average, especially after a bull market. And then, I was predicting $2,100. Guys, look at where we are right now, $2,000. Let me be very clear. Ethereum is coming down into this range, $1,300, $1,500. And when you think about what that looks like, percentage wise, yo, Chad, this is a 20 to a 30% crash. If we lose $1,300, $1,500, you're looking at an Ethereum that comes all the way down to retesting the lows of the last bear market. This is why I say to you, stay on the sideline. There is going to be a time to buy this in this market. It's just not right now, guys. All right, it's just not right now. We talked about Ethereum, throughout this entire bear market. All right here. We talked about Ethereum throughout this entire crash, man. Do I have an Ethereum somewhere around here? Probably yes, probably not. Oh, here I was talking about something else. Probably yes, probably not. But I know we talked about Ethereum. There we go. This is 4 days ago, though, so that one. Right here, guys. Look, I bought a month ago. Hopefully I did. Look, Chad, man. And you see what I was talking about in terms of, hey, if Ethereum is going to be bullish, you want to see this. But not once did I ever believe that Ethereum was going to be bullish. And I showed you guys, once you lose this key level, it is game over for Ethereum. Let me see. Oh my gosh, man. And you look at the title, man. Avoid this at all costs, guys. You don't have to be a buyer. Look at Solana, man. I was giving you guys targets. Solana, $124. And I was telling you guys, yo, we're going to lose this $92, $113 range. And it's game over for Solana. Yeah, Ethereum, where are we, man? Oh, it's way back here. But anyways, look, doesn't even matter. But if you want to watch, some of my Ethereum breakdown, I'm sure, yeah, you got to have to, go to, a bunch of these updates right here. But anyways, holy smoke, man. So Ethereum, yeah, chat, look. These are my targets. These are my targets right now. I'm looking at Ethereum, and I do not like it. I don't like it at all. And why should I, guys? Look at it. Chat, on the monthly, we've had 7. Is it 6? No, 6 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 red monthly candles. Yo, it's back to back. It's back to back. Oh my God. Wow. Look at Ethereum. Look at the state of Ethereum, guys. On the monthly time frame. Like, there's been not a reason. You had not a reason to buy Ethereum since literally $4,400 because it's been a straight line down on the monthly. This is why it's extremely important to zoom out. You want to zoom out. You want to see how those bigger time frames are doing. And I'm telling you right now, yo, as long as the monthly looks like this, forget about your lower time. Forget about some bullets set up on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the daily. It doesn't change anything. So if I'm looking at ETH, guys, This is a major week monthly support. And then if this is lost, yeah, you're looking at $9,000. Look, you can make an argument that we might bottom around here, but until that is proven, yo, just enjoy the show. Enjoy the show, guys. Like, you don't try to be a hero. Do not try to be a hero. MSTR. Yeah, this one, $119. MSTR is coming up into, I mean, this is like major. If we don't stop right here, and then we get some crazy day cap bounce, yeah, it could get bad. It could really get bad. Yo, you know what's crazy? I was waiting for some sort of a weekly day cap bounce so I can buy some puts, but I waited and waited. We really never got anything. You know, sometimes the market just doesn't give you what you want, man. Like, I didn't think this was the day cap bounce that we were gonna get. I always thought we're gonna come back and retest the 21 weekly. Maybe we will. Maybe it's just not right now. But yeah, at this point, I mean, puts probably not even worth it unless we get some crazy move back to the upside. At this point right now, guys, my belief is that. Oh, let me be clear too. Remember, Iran. I gave you guys a trade. I told you Iran is officially over. Its bull market is over. I gave you a trade. I told you, hey, you can short this actually from the $50 range all the way down to around $33. Look at the gap down. It is currently around 41. Yo, let me be clear when it comes to Iran. I don't know what's going to save this thing, but if you look at the monthly chat, I want to be very honest with you. You're looking at $15. I think we're going all the way back to 15. If we lose 15, you could potentially be looking at an Iran that comes all the way back to around, maybe even somewhere around $5. But let's see how this all plays out. But Iran, to me, its bull market is over. Looking at this right now, all right, this is why, day cap bounce could be very tricky, because when this was playing out, I really thought, because when you look at the weekly, like, this is nothing more than a healthy pullback, and this gives you a weekly higher low, all right? So I really thought this was the beginning of, going back to retesting $96 and potentially going higher. But guess what, guys? Once we got this weekly close, to me, this was the confirmation that actually this is a weekly lower high. That's what we were working on. And right now, you're looking at an Iran that not only comes back to around $33, but actually we're going to lose $33. And we are going to put in a weekly lower low. So I gave you guys a trade, whether you bought some puts or you just shorted, I think you are going to make some amazing profits. And I'm looking at Iran. Look, right now, $25 is very attractive. That is, I don't know if this is a previous all-time high, but in terms of the data we have, $25 is a major key level. So I do think Iran is looking at retesting the $25 target. We might get a bounce after that. We might not. And then we might drop all the way back to $15. So I do think 15 is a major support in this bear market for Iran. Oh my God. Chat, remember, if you've tuned in for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Even if it's not your first time, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching the live stream, hit the like. All right, I want you guys to like. Guys, more of you deserve to watch these streams. More of you deserve people like myself who are very honest when it comes to this market. We don't have any agenda. Well, we do have an agenda, actually. The only agenda we have is, being honest on what the market looks like and actually calling it exactly what it is. If the market is bullish, the market is bullish. If the market is bearish, the market is bearish. Yo, Raul Paul, you got to stop, my brother. Raul, you got to stop. Raul, you got to stop. You come up with every reason why the market should go up. Even when the market is in a bear market, you seem to always be bullish. Yo, it's okay to be bullish long term, but in the short term, you got to acknowledge that we are 100% in the bear market. And doesn't matter how much research you do, the market is cooked. We are cooked, guys. Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. Raul Paul has got to stop, man. Raul Paul has got he needs to be stopped. He needs to be stopped. I'm gonna start commenting on his stuff. I'm gonna be like, yo, my brother, I love your work. I used to love his work, like in my early days in the crypto market. I used to love his work, but right now it's just like it seems like, yo, I was looking at Raul Paul charting Sui, and he was giving like a $20 target, and I was like, yo, now when the weekly looks like this, yeah, I was looking at Raul Paul charting Sui right here, all right, and he was, yo, the way he was drawing his trend lines, he was looking like this. And I was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. But chat, Sui is going back to 40 cents. And I've been telling you guys this, when the price of Sui was around here, in the even in the $2 range, I was telling you, hey, Sui, it's a long bear market for this one. So, and when you think about guys like Raul Paul, he's got this like, I mean, I don't want to say amazing, but he's got a service, and I'm sure he's got like, thousands and thousands of people who are, who have subscribed to his service. And, when he tells them to continue to buy the dip, man, like I can only imagine. I mean, these guys are probably looking at him like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We're 6 months into this, and, how many dips? Like, how many dips do we actually buy? Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, man. Chat, there's only a few people. I'm telling you right now, man. There's only a few people that are looking at this market and are actually being very honest. If you are, joining me for the very first time, just don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to smash the like, because without you guys, without you, I have no reason to do this. But oh my god, man, oh my gosh, yeah, it's a ridiculous market to be in right now. Chat, I think I'm just gonna cut it right here. Honestly, it's just, yeah, it's so bizarre. I'm gonna stop it right here. And BMNRMSTR. Oh my gosh, you you have no idea. SBET. Yeah, they're about to. Yeah, it's FAF4. I mean, FAF4 moment. I'm telling you, man. Yo, Michael Saylor. I mean, I don't think Michael Saylor is going to get liquidated, though. I think Michael Saylor is fine, because when you think about MSTR, right? MSTR, like they made hundreds, hundreds of should I say hundreds? But they definitely made billions and billions of dollars in profits. So I'm sure, he's got like billions of dollars just sitting on the sideline, and he's able to continue to service the debt. So, yo, if he can if he can go through 2026 without being liquidated, I think this brother, all right, we so much Bitcoin. I think this is going, MSTR could potentially be, can you imagine when the price of Bitcoin is around, I don't know, $300,000? Like MSTR is going to be, yeah, it's going to be a big, it's going to be a big player in the Bitcoin ecosystem. But anyways, yo, chat, appreciate you guys, man. We're gonna do this again later today. I just wanted to live stream. I just wanted to talk about what was going on. It is absolutely insane. You can tune in later if you want to. If you don't want to, perfectly fine with me. But later on today, we're gonna do a proper price analysis. We're gonna jump into altcoins. We'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about potential price targets in the short term. We'll try to see if there's any bullish consolidation, if there's any bullish divergency, if there's any reason to be bullish in the short term. But yeah, hey, listen, it is what it is, man. But I appreciate you guys. Continue to smash liking, continue to subscribe, continue to share the content. More people need to watch this. All right, more people need to watch this, guys. Honestly, it's not just because it's my content, but I really believe if you've listened to any one of my updates from the last couple of weeks, I believe I have saved you a lot of money. Because what I've said to you guys was that stay on the sideline, don't do anything, because this market is going much, much, much lower. And when you look at the state of this market right now, those that continue to tell you do dollar cost average, I mean, can you imagine? Especially if you dollar cost average. Yo, I was looking at this guy that was talking about how altcoins are in a long term, all right, a long term uptrend. And I'm like, yo, what time frame are you actually looking at? Because if I'm on the weekly, if I'm on the monthly, those are long term time frames. I don't know if you're looking at the yearly. And I was like, yeah, hopefully nobody's taking this advice serious, because yo, people are going to get hurt. And you look at the price today, you look at the price over the last couple of weeks. I mean, it's clear. Yeah. Anyways, guys, we'll do this again later today. I just gave you guys a good 15 minutes. I appreciate you guys. Smash the like, continue to subscribe, continue to share the content, and we'll see you guys in a